From St. Joseph, Missouri, here is Travis Lee Hartman.
Ow, now, round cow. Okay.
This is going to be a tongue twister show.
I like that.
Not for those reasons. Welcome to the next episode of Weighing In with Travis Hartman. You know what? This is just a lyrical and musical experience for your eardrums. That over there is Travis Hartman. I am Brandon Waters. This is episode 17, folks. For those that have been with us on this journey, we do appreciate it. You know, Travis, when I was thinking about today, and I was thinking about doing this for so many weeks, I was thinking of how we met many years ago.
Many moons ago.
Many moons ago, we've known each other, and I thought to myself the first time I saw you, and maybe the first time we talked, I thought, maybe someday we could become friends. Friends who ride majestic, translucent steeds.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know.
You should know.
I don't know even how to finish that.
Anyways, thanks for joining. If you haven't done so already, please follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Spotify, everywhere. iTunes. I got an email the other day that iHeartRadio, if that's still a thing.
Well, I think it is.
The podcast is streaming there now.
Holla.
There you go.
Brandon, wait, I wanted to say, though, was it love at first sight? Or do I need to walk by again?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's the line. That's how I got him, folks.
Hey.
That's how we're friends, is because it wasn't love at first sight, so I backed up.
Listen,
and I walked by
we
again.
have a huge population draw from preteens. Okay, so write those things down. That's going to help you with the ladies. Okay, those are the lines. Those are the lines.
You guys pickup lines. Okay, it works.
Yeah, there you go. So where was I with this? So if you haven't done so already, please feel free to subscribe to our podcast. And for those that have already, thank you. We appreciate it.
We really do appreciate it.
Appreciate all the love. Special thanks to our partners. We have TH Boxing, Gulfstream Financial, and IF Enterprises.
Thank you guys for your support.
Thank you
One
so
of us
much.
Me, but whatever.
Well, it's the gym. Listen.
TH Boxing Facility.
It is what it is. So anyways, is that? Oh, yeah.
We got a little neon light back there.
Every week we always have a little something.
Stepping our game up. Stepping our game up.
If you like that on YouTube, comment. Comment what we should do to this place. Like above here, like I'll change to this video.
Yeah,
there's nothing above my head.
Other than my cool basketball hoop.
Actually, you know what? That reminds me. Hat. Whatever. Packers won. I'll wear the hat. So if you want to see something here, or if you want to hear us talk about something, please give us a comment on YouTube. That does help. So Weekend Trav.
He's back. Weekend Trav.
We're back finally. I think now we get the show back on track.
All right, BMoney.
Because we finally have Weekend Trav back. It's been a couple weeks.
Yes, I like to change it up, though.
Okay.
You never know what you're going to get when you watch this show. That's why I think people need to tune in.
Gotcha.
Because you have a surprise every week.
Kind of, yeah.
Sort of.
A little bit.
I never know what I'm going to say.
Me either.
never
That's
know
the
what we're
dangerous
doing.
thing here. So I never know what you're going to say. So without further ado, Weekend Trav, let's talk. Let's talk combat sports. Let's talk boxing. I thought it was a pretty important weekend for combat sports in general. Anytime you see one of your fellow compatriots in battle, hang them up is a big deal, especially one of such prowess. Now, this is coming on the MMA side with the UFC specifically, so maybe if you wanted to just to touch on that briefly, we'll talk about kind of the changing of the guard in combat sports anytime you see someone hang them up.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a boxing podcast for the most part. However, we respect all combat sports. And I think that when a fighter at such a high level decides to hang him up and retire, I think that it deserves to be talked about and deserves to be mentioned. So I'm going to try not to butcher this name as much as possible. And I think anybody that is an MMA or UFC fan knows who I'm talking about. But his name is pronounced Khabib, but they say Khabib. And his last name is Nurmagomedov. But you know what I'm talking about, because I'm not going to try to say that again. He finished his UFC career at 29-0. He beat Justin Gaethje in a second-round submission, I believe.
Yep.
And then he retired. And if you don't know that name, that's the guy who put the smackdown on Conor McGregor.
Yep, there was a lot of beef with them back, a year or so ago when it was the build-up to their fight. If you remember, there was, people running into buses and guardrails thrown, and like the camps hated each other. And
after Khabib beat him, he jumped out of the cage, off of the cage, into one of Conor's, I don't know what, teammates or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they were, but part of his team.
Definitely probably one of the best pound-for-pound fighters that the UFC has seen. Now, obviously now because it's so fresh that he's retiring, Dana White, other people are like, he's the best ever and this and that. And maybe history will show that. Yep. I think there are other fighters up there on the pound-for-pound rankings. Just because of the records, 29-0 doesn't necessarily mean he was the best ever. But tremendous fighter, 100% tremendous fighter.
I mean, most people considered Conor that good, and he dispatched Conor. He beat Conor down, finished him off.
It opens up that weight division quite significantly now. So if Conor wants to slide back in, which I don't think he wants to, McGregor seems like he's so hell-bent on being a boxer. Good luck.
Tough sport. It's a tough sport, my friend.
It is, it is what it is there. So, yes, it was a battle there with Justin Gaethje, second-round submission, retired on top with the belt, and that was it.
Massive respect for that.
Very emotional many months for him. I think his father passed away and all this sort of business. I know usually we're talking boxing here. We're not talking MMA too much, so that's why we're a little out of touch a bit. But I still think, and we think, that it's a milestone event. Anytime, like I said, a compatriot in battle hangs him up after such a great, illustrious career.
Yep. So while we're not experts on this issue at all, we don't pretend to be, but I think it deserves to be touched on. That's what we're just touching on it because we don't know the ins and outs of MMA or UFC at all. But from an outsider's point of view, this is what we're saying, that he deserves massive respect.
Phenomenal career. So from all of us here at Weighing In with Travis Hartman, which is two of us.
Yeah.
Congratulations on a great career. I'm sure you're one of our subscribers, so we just wanted to give you props, and sorry if your name was butchered, your last name anyways.
I do apologize,
Khabib.
but I know that while we were doing the lead up to the show, I did try to Google our YouTube. While you're on YouTube, subscribe to our podcast, Weighing In with Travis Hartman. But while I was YouTubing it, we were YouTubing how to say his name, and we pulled up like a bunch of different YouTubes and said how to say his name, and the correct version was Khabib. And then I don't know how to say his last name.
Because it was the traditional way to say it, out of respect for his culture, would be that,
Because we did hear a version of him saying it, and I couldn't even come close to pronouncing what
Khabib,
he said.
And then he rattled through his middle name, then his last name. I'm like,
but he did say Khabib. I think it's Khabib.
Khabib.
Yeah, throw a little Khabib. I spit in the microphone, so it's a good thing I have a little screen here.
The screen's good.
Khabib. But we did do our best to research that and try. I still butchered his last name. However, I think he's used to that by now in the American culture. We try our best, but I hope he doesn't think it's disrespect to him or his name, because it's not. I did try, but massive, massive respect to a guy walking off into the sunset, an undefeated 29-0 world champion.
Yeah,
massive respect, because
that's huge in anything.
That is. Especially MMA, you don't see too many guys go undefeated in MMA because it's very tough. It's very difficult because these guys fight whoever they put in front of them. Dana White picks who gets to fight who's ranked where, and it's tough. I mean, look at it. Conor McGregor, I think he's got 3 losses. So it's actually fairly commonplace to have 1 or 2 losses and still be great. And still be great though. He had 0 losses. He's great. In my opinion, I'm not a huge MMA guy, but I know that nobody wanted to fight him. There was nobody clamoring to fight Khabib. If they called him out, he fought him.
And he's a unique guy, very centered into his culture, his belief structure, everything like that. So, I'm proud of him for what he's accomplished, number one, but just being able to, like you said, retire on top, retire with the belt, and go out your way rather than somebody else dictating how you go out. Because way too often, not only in MMA but also in boxing, you get those guys that just won't go away. They just feel like they still have it in them, and slowly but surely they're a broken down fighter, right?
100%. That happens. Sadly, it happens in all sports. However, it's more sad when you see it in boxing because these guys end up getting hurt in the ring, and that's what's sad about it when the guys come back. So we don't know if Khabib is done for sure. However, he announced that he was done, and I feel like a guy like him, I think he's done.
I think so. The way he carries himself and he's very specific to the point. I I'd imagine so. He
came back from injuries too.
The way that he carries himself reminds me a lot of like Lomachenko, how he carries himself, how his camp carries themselves. But anyway, so this is kind of the salute to
hats off, brother.
To the old guard, and now
let's do a cheers.
Oh, fine. Let's
do a cheers to him.
So from that, we transition then to kind of the new guard, but now we'll also shift our gears towards boxing. So, we're talking about a few fights coming up. We're going to talk heavyweights a bit later, but we wanted to talk on the calendar some other stuff happening literally in a week, less than a week.
Halloween.
Right? So there's 2 different cards running on Halloween that have some big-time fights. So this is us moving and pivoting over to, some of the younger talent, the up-and-coming fighters coming in. So let's talk, Travis, about the card that's going to be on ESPN Plus on Halloween, October 31st. We have Naoya Inoue, the monster.
And when we say monster, he's 118 pounds, by the way.
118-pound monster.
I believe that's bantamweight in the professional level. But the reason they call this guy the monster is watch him fight. He demolishes people generally. Literally demolishes them. So they call him the monster because he just got the power that's just like he walks through people and he takes shots and he gives shots. He's the monster. So it's a very good nickname. He's from Japan. The guy has the making to really shake up that division. And the reason why he's really considered that highly regarded too is because he beat a guy, Nonito Donaire, in his last fight. He dominated Nonito, and Nonito used to be regarded as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. This is when Mayweather was there. This is when Chocolito was there. This is when there was a lot of high-profile guys, and Nonito Donaire was considered that. But granted, it's been like 5 years probably since Nonito's been the pound-for-pound best. Still good, but this guy totally walked through him and beat him pretty handily as well. So that's why he's called the monster. So it's a pretty big card because he's 118 pounds, and I think that you're going to see him slowly start to move up like most of those guys do. Yeah. But you don't really hear about the 118-pound division.
Especially headlining.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's the main event for an ESPN Plus card, so that should tell you what promoters and what the audience thinks about this guy. And most of the time, promoters don't just put guys on TV for no reason. They put them on there because people are clamoring for them. People are wanting them. So the numbers are speaking for themselves, so that's why he's there. However, it's also there, too, because the co-main event that night is Mikaela Mayer, who is promoted by Top Rank, Bob Arum. So that's a big one because we're seeing a female. We're seeing this more and more being the co-main event. And she can fight, and I believe this is her first world title shot. She's 13-0, and she's fighting this Iwa Bradnika, who is 19-0. It's going to be a good fight. Yeah,
so if you've listened to our previous episodes in the catalog, some of the earlier episodes, we talked a bit about women's boxing.
We talked about Mikaela Mayer.
We talked about Mikaela Mayer specifically, and just the impact that the sport has been making. And our stance on this from many weeks ago and through today and going forward is that we hate the fact that we have to distinguish between, it's female or women's boxing versus the traditional men's boxing. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But these ladies are coming to battle, right? And it's making more and more sense for them to be on the card, not because just to check a box, but because it's a great fight.
Yep.
It's a great fight. And so I think the fans are really going to enjoy watching this card on ESPN Plus. And no, we are not sponsored by ESPN or ESPN Plus. Though, if you guys would like to, I think you're broke, so you probably can't sponsor us anyways.
Well, that just made our views go down.
Oh, did it?
But you know what's but what needs to be talked about more too is that so a lot of people think that women or even male boxers are supposed to be these big, bulky, ugly dudes, messed up cauliflower ears, messed up faces, right? Well, it's not like that. These women, both of these women, are very pretty women as well, but they can fight. So that's what I think is going to change the game is, well, let's be honest, too, sex does sell, period. When it comes to women's sports, sex sells, and that's how they advertise it. These two women sell in that regard. Sure. However, they both back it up. Mikaela Mayer fought amateur for a long time. She's also trained by a former Olympic coach, Al Mitchell, who actually had a Olympic program in Michigan. So this guy knows what he's doing, had a couple gold medalists as he trained at other. David Reed is one of the most famous ones. So the fact that she has him training her, and he's been training her for a while, Al Mitchell has, Mikaela Mayer can fight. And if you don't believe me, look her up. She can fight. The girl's got skills. And that's what's changing a little bit in women's boxing is that these girls are now not just coming out there to be pretty. they can fight.
Yeah.
All of them. Not all of them, but this one, I'm telling you, Mikaela Mayer can fight. I think that she's the betting favorite, and if she's not, she probably should be. But it's going to be a good fight. Like, I don't have a prediction for that fight. And usually I have one. I just don't. It's not something that I'm an expert in, so I definitely can know my weaknesses, and I'm not going to predict that one. However, I am going to be rooting for Mikaela because I think she's a good person. She's a good friend of some friends of mine as well. So that's why I'm rooting for Mikaela, and I think people should try to tune into this.
Now, and to clarify a little bit of your position, because I know where you stand with women's boxing, it's not – the talent's been there from going way back for decades at this point, right? It's just it's just the talent.
Ali.
It's just the talent
Christy
pool.
Martin.
Yeah, it's just the talent pool wasn't as deep. There weren't as many, and I think that's more of the cultural shift that when they looked up to Ali and others as younger females, younger girls, they started training younger. So now you're seeing the fruit of that. Yeah, you're seeing more women in the sport at now the professional level, not just the amateur level. And so that says a lot. But yeah, you're right. On any sport, unfortunately, with women in sports, a lot of times sex is what sells, and that's one of the feet put forward.
It kind of sells in men too.
But yeah,
it kind of does sell.
Yeah,
in
you
men
want
too.
you want a good looking champ. You want, it doesn't matter if they're men or what. You want a good looking person that you can put on a poster or on the internet, whatever else. So I get it. MMA was the same way. Ronda Rousey kind of kicked the door open. There was already women's MMA at that point.
But you didn't really hear about it.
No, it's just
Until
UFC finally opened the door to it, and that's what gave the platform. So then you got the Rousey of the world, which I've never found her attractive. I don't know what everyone else thinks about that.
You might be in the minority.
Not my shtick at all.
Yeah.
No. But anyway, so there have been women for a long time, but finally the talent pool has just increased dramatically after basically a generation, right? Or a half a generation.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I think you are seeing some of the fruits of that labor. However, I don't think you're seeing the full version of it because you're already seeing it right now because you have a girl named Clarissa Shields who was a two-time, I think, Olympic gold. I think I know a two-time gold medalist, which doesn't happen hardly ever because she went to 2 different Olympics. What people don't realize is that when she was fighting, Olympics were amateur. Most people don't realize that with boxing, that it's amateur. They just changed the rule within the last Olympics now where pros can also compete. However, it's always been amateur. So the fact that she won 2 gold medals as an amateur is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is it's not deep enough of a division now because now she's professional. I think she's like 9 or 10-0, and she's running out of opponents.
Well, we see
that's what makes people tune in is those.
Yeah, well, we see
you gotta have it's a two-way process.
We see it on the amateur ranks here. I mean, even locally, it's tough. We have plenty of friends that are amateur fighters on different age levels, things like that, and they can't get opponents. There might be. I mean, I'm thinking of the one specifically that we're friends with, Tiffany Taylor.
Yep.
She's in Masters, yet she has to fight like the same couple people, unfortunately, and that stinks for them.
Yep.
Like they can't She has to travel to like all over the place to even try to fight somebody else, and then who knows, it might just be a soccer mom stepping in there.
Yeah, you know what though, and you're right, that does happen. There is a very few women boxers right now and amateurs, but
it'll build.
It will, because when I was growing up, I'm telling you, my dad, we lived in Missouri, and I was a 50-60 pound kid, 8 years old. I couldn't find fights either, and my dad did. He got in the car and we traveled.
Yeah.
We traveled and drove everywhere. Literally everywhere. So it's something that you have to do, but it's something that people have to take the time to do. If you genuinely want to be a women's professional boxer eventually, you take those chances and you take those risks and you take the time to travel. And and Tiffany, she likes it. However, Tiffany's also in what we call the Masters division, which is I think it's 30 and over or something like that.
30, 35 over, yeah.
Yeah,
like that.
So which is phenomenal because I love to see people doing boxing to stay in shape and get healthy, and Tiffany's definitely embraced that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. The boxing bug has got to her, and I love it.
She's in phenomenal shape.
I love it that she does that.
I've known her for probably almost as long as you. And
you've probably known her a little longer because I think I knew her through you and the gym, like later on, because she joined that gym after I already left.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure that I kind of met her after you met her. You probably met her before me for sure. Yeah.
So anyways, I think, but a lot of the conversation here, and once again, this isn't planned. Like in our pre-planning stuff, we did a Facebook Live. We're chatting with people watching, whatever else. We have some notes of kind of what we want the show to be. We weren't talking about women's boxing, but this is how it goes. And that's cool. Or women's sports in general. So to some of the comments here, you're seeing that now across other sports too, right? So, I coach flag football for younger kids. You see more girls participating than you did several years ago. You see it now with, U.S. women's soccer being so great. More girls going out and playing soccer. Like, all these sports are leveling up, okay? Now, this isn't a conversation to get into the marketing of it and the money side of it, whatever else, but the fact that there's more participation is huge. I love that. I love seeing, especially young kids, because I coach young kids, and to see kids like out there just participating in sports.
Yep.
Whether
being active, off their phones, off all the technology that we have.
It's great. Like, I coach track too, so to have these 5th through 8th graders, and I'm coaching them and getting out and doing something other than, like you said, being on tech or being on a phone or whatever else, enjoying something else. It's awesome.
I agree. I love it. Yeah. Again, here at TH Boxing Facilities, I do the same thing. I have 6 and 7, 8-year-olds that I train. I'm not training them to compete at boxing. Their parents just wanted to get them into something, teach them a discipline, get them outside doing an activity, which is, I love it. Who knows? I have a couple kids that are actually really good, and you never know. They might fight one day. However, the parents brought them here because they wanted to teach them a new discipline. And the same thing with what you guys are doing. Those kids, most of those kids are not going to go on to play football.
I expect
those kids are not going to go on to run track.
I expect my whole roster to be Division I athletes one day.
See, that's not going to happen. The percentages say otherwise. However, they're still getting a benefit from all that, and that's what people don't. I think what people need to get in their heads is that yes, it's a very few. I think it's like a 1% chance that most people are going to go professional.
Probably less than that.
Less than that. So you don't teach kids to join activities in high school because of the final aspect of it all. You teach them because you want to get them in something new, something different, keep them active, and all of those things. It teaches discipline. It teaches, especially team sports. So I grew up boxing, right? But boxing is a very individual sport, which I love about it because I love to have that control when I lose. Sure. I know that I lose, but I also played team sports, basketball, baseball. I did track, and track, although you think it's individual, there was team things in track as well. We had relays. You had all that stuff.
What'd you run in track?
I was a long distance runner. I did 800, mile, and 2 mile.
Okay. How are you in
boxing?
How are you in that? Good?
I was really, you want to hear funny story?
When'd you run? Like what age level were you, or what grade?
So this is a good story because as a sophomore in high school, I ran the mile, 4:55 mile. Okay? Hated it.
Yeah.
Because no disrespect to track, Brandon.
It's fine.
I said, and I thought at the time, this is an Eastbound and Down quote is, I'm not trying to be the best at exercise. Okay? I ran long distance for boxing, and I hated it. Road work was my number one hatred.
Yeah.
So when my dad told me to go out for track and run track, I did it my freshman year. My sophomore year, I did it for a minute, and I said, Dad, I already do this for boxing.
Yeah.
This is not fun for me.
Yeah.
And I literally, when I told the coach that I was quitting, I ran a 4:55 mile at like 15.
Yeah.
He was like, "What are you doing, Travis? Why?" I think number one in state that year was like a 4:39 or something.
Yeah.
And I ran that at the beginning of the year, and he was like, "Please don't quit." I was like, "I'm sorry, coach. Like, I love boxing, and boxing is my priority. And if I have to keep running track, I'm probably going to quit everything in my life because I do not like to run." Right. And now I'm going to be running for boxing and for track. It's just not for me, man. And I'm saying it's hard. That's why I quit it, because it was really hard. And I wasn't trying to be the best at exercise. And to me, running is exercise.
Listen, that's, our sport is other people's punishment. That's the whole adage of track.
I agree with it.
Yeah, I was a sprinter and I was a jumper, so I hated long distance. When I became an old man like this, I now have to do longer distance in order to try to be in shape. So I went through several years where I was running marathons and all halves and stuff like that, and I got really skinny. I'm now not skinny, so I'm trying to get skinny again. Not skinny, but at least in better shape. But it is tough.
Can we talk about that? What you're doing right now? Because I'm pretty sure that you're on a certain diet.
Oh yeah, no, I'm trying that carnivore diet. Like you've seen, not only Joe Rogan, there's plenty of other people have done it. He's just more the high-profile guy that's done it, but a lot of resources out there. So I figured, why not? Let me try this.
How long do you have to do it for?
It's really up to you. So I'm shooting for to do it a month, and then my whole philosophy on that is I'm going to do this for a month, and then after that month reassess, and then probably either continue it or back into the traditional keto, which I've never done that either.
So for the listeners, and actually for me too, what's the purpose of trying that? What is the benefit? What is the end goal? What's the end goal of the
end goal for me?
Day?
It's not only a weight loss thing; it's also just full mind, body, soul sort of healing, right? So I've read so many people that have done this that had various autoimmune disease or disorders, and by changing their diet, whether it was through carnivore or something else, actually just solved their problems. And so I don't have an autoimmune disorder, but like different things, aches and pains, getting your sleep track right, getting your weight back in check. But the whole process takes time because your digestive system has to change. We were so used to in our culture, heavy carbs, sugars, processed things, and yes, it's easy to say it in a bubble, say, oh yeah, I'm going to go do this. It's hard in practicality because you have to really plan it. You have to really plan your food structure. We don't realize that a lot of our day and our lives revolves around food.
It does. 100%.
A lot of social events revolve around food, and that whole industry knows that.
And drinking.
And I'm all for capitalism. So whatever. If you're going to make the nicest snack treat that tastes great and has all the sugar and stuff like that, that's for some people. I'm just trying to turn away from that, and I wanted to shock my body and see the benefit of it. But when you look on whether it's YouTube, Googling it, whatever else, there's so much benefit. I'm not a scientist. I don't know it all by heart. But when I was reading it, I'm like, wow, this is pretty powerful. Like, what can actually happen with your body?
It made sense to you.
It made a lot of sense to me. And I know people are like, no veggies? That's kind of weird. That seems counterintuitive. Well, not necessarily. You can find the nutrients and a lot of value out of meats and actually like organ type meats. So you got to kind of figure that out. And then vegetables are a natural, I don't want to call them a predator, but they grow in a protectionary fashion. So at a certain point when you're consuming too much of that, it changes the dynamic of your digestive tract, and it's actually not processing well. So once again, I'm no specialist. Don't take this for science or whatever else, but when I was reading and listening to a lot of people, I just thought to myself, goodness gracious, if keto seems like a good thing, this is like an advanced form of keto. That's why I think going into this and then backing into the normal ketosis keto type diet, I want to try that. My mom's done keto for a long time, and she's like, she was never a heavy person, but she looks like a completely different person. She shed so much weight, and she feels better. That's the other thing. It's not about weight. It's about feeling better.
Yeah.
Waking up and just not having like a spike of energy or needing to like put pre-workout in my system or whatever else, but just having a nice moderated level of energy all day long.
Yeah.
And going to sleep and having a better sleep habit, because I struggle sleep-wise. I just have a problem. Like either it's my mind or whatever else, but just trying to get everything.
I think 90% of the deal with sleep is mind.
Absolutely.
Your mind doesn't shut off, and that's what it is.
So this supposedly could potentially help that. I'm going to see. I'm a handful of days. I'm about 4 days in. If you're watching this when we posted, probably about 6 days in at that point. And it's going okay. I've shed a couple pounds, but usually if you start any sort of diet or whatever else,
you might spike before you come down.
Yeah,
too.
probably.
Yeah.
So usually with any sort of diet, you shed a lot of pounds early. But this is a weird one because Trav, you're eating meat and drinking water.
That's all you're eating is meat.
I make an exception here, okay, for those haters. This is bourbon. Bourbon is technically keto-friendly, no carbs, but it's not necessarily only animal byproduct here. But this is my exception because I didn't want to give this up.
No, man, we can't, Brand. We do this every week.
We do it every week.
I would actually firmly object to this if you did.
Well, all I'm going to say is that if you're listening now and if you fast forward to 20 minutes from now, BMoney might be a little different because I've had no carbs in my body for days. So this is going to hit me a little differently today, I think. But
I'm excited about that.
But that proves the point.
Yeah.
My body is having to figure out how to utilize energy differently.
Well, I'm going to say, I'm going to give you a devil's advocate of that too, is that I've never done a 100% carnivore diet.
Yeah.
I've never done that. But I did do a straight 7-day vegan diet.
Sure.
Where I had no meats. It wasn't just vegan. It was plant-based. I had 100% plant-based.
Yeah.
And Brandon, same way though. I felt amazing after 7 days because same token that you say you can't get or people say you can't get certain nutrients and certain things from all meat. Same thing. People think that you can't get certain proteins just from plants, and you
But you
actually
can.
can.
Yeah.
You actually can get better protein. So there's two sides to every story. Always will be. There's always science on both
course.
sides. So it's kind of, at the end of the day, you made a comment and that I kind of agreed with too. It's whatever makes you feel better, go for it.
Listen.
And I'm not, but wait, for all the drug addicts out there who do heroin and feel really good, I'm not saying because you feel good, do that.
No.
But the diets and things like that, you know what? I'm on the whole kick of lately is do what makes you happy. Okay, if you feel good, do it. Okay, and if you're onto this and it's making your body feel good, it's making your sleep schedule better, screw what everybody else thinks.
Well,
go for it.
When we check in next week, as we do our episode 18 next week.
I can't believe we're 17 in, bro.
Yeah, we'll see how I feel.
What is this, 3 months? We're on month 3, right? Like,
I can't do the math.
no, more than that.
So, anyways, I was going to say something else as kind of a closing thought to it. Oh, I was going to say, listen, your boy over here likes to eat meat, bro. Not like that, but you know what I mean.
That's what she said.
You know, so I don't mind eating steak.
That's my first "that's what she said" joke, by the way.
It was.
And we've been in.
I should
for
keep
entire-
tally of that.
Yeah.
Steak, chicken, fish. So it's everything under the sun that's an actual animal. I'm cool eating that. But then, like I said, the byproduct.
Did it die of natural causes?
I hit it with my car and then I cooked it.
Okay, that's fair.
And so, but a lot of those minerals and nutrients you have to get from like organ meat. So I do have a supplement of bovine capsule form, so cow, and it's a mixture of kidney, heart, brain.
You literally talking to a guy that's from the Midwest. The fact that you said bovine to me and said that means cow. I come from the Midwest.
Our listeners
Okay.
are from
But no,
everywhere.
you looked me in the eyes like I didn't know what you're talking about. If you'd have looked to the camera and said that, I would have been like, okay, that's cool. Brandon looked at me, Missouri guy who I grew up next to cow pastures. I know what the hell bovine means. Okay? I know what bovine means.
Listen,
Hater.
I'm only looking at you while I'm saying this.
Hey, my Missouri peeps, I knew what he was talking about, so please give me some credit.
I'm only saying it while I look at you because that's podcasting 101. Technically, we should ignore these cameras.
All right, producer, it is.
Technically, we should, but we don't.
But we don't do things
because I
normal.
want to engage with you. And he wants to engage with you too.
Speaking of that, that is a very big political move when you're in a debate and what you do is, I'm talking to you guys.
You look at the
not
camera.
this guy.
You look at the camera.
I want you guys to know that I'm here for you, not this guy.
You say
I'm
something.
talking to you. I want the middle class to know that I'm here.
You say something around the kitchen table. You say some empty promise or empty stuff. I almost said the other word. Stuff. So anyways, that's what I'm doing right now, and we'll see. Like I said, I'm only a handful of days in. Next week, I might hate my life. Probably not, though, because I feel okay. What sucked, though, and this is my last thing, I'll talk about this, and we can move on. I had dinner last night. Nice Italian joint. I like them a lot. I was actually, after coaching a football game, we're at this place called Tomasino's, so props to them.
Tomasino's?
They're actually, by the way, they're opening one in the next couple of weeks by us.
In Lake Nona.
Yeah.
Everybody, Orlando, know this. Everybody's coming to Lake Nona. That's where we live. Lake Nona.
It's a family-run joint. It's one of my favorite Italian joints, and it's just so good.
I like family-run places.
Their ingredients are awesome. Their cheesecake. They get delivered in from Brooklyn, a specific place in Brooklyn. So,
I'm a cheesecake guy.
Family's there.
I'm not a New York guy though.
We know the owner, so the owner was actually there, and she's working, like she's cooking. So it's one of these kind of joints. It's cool. And we're talking to her for a while, and we don't know it, but she actually, gets a cheesecake for us and puts it on the table. I'm like, that's my favorite dessert. Trav. That's my favorite thing.
BMoney.
I can't touch it.
It's not part of your.
Because I'm disciplined. I'm a freaking rock. I'm a disciplined rock.
Listen, I am only disciplined when it comes to boxing. So I've had those push in front of me.
Yeah.
I have no discipline when it comes to food. If I'm not boxing, period, I am not disciplined. That's why, Brandon, I do believe that in my retirement, I'm going to have to pick up some new habits and some new hobbies, like running, even though I hate it. I'm going to have to it's on my bucket list. I think I've told you this before. My bucket list is to run a 5K
Yeah.
A half marathon and a marathon. I've ran a 5K already.
Okay.
I actually did a 5K 3 days before my boxing match in Missouri, my last boxing match in Missouri. 3 days before I ran a 5K.
Oh, yeah,
3.1 miles. Dude, I ran like 22 minutes.
3.125.
Holla.
3.125.
Yeah, 22 or 23. It was like 22 something.
That's a great time. But you were
Didn't
training.
practice.
You should be able to do that because you've been
I know
training.
that's what everybody says, but I don't run 3 miles in training.
Yeah, but
I run
the
sprints and
cardio
intervals.
regiment's different.
Yeah, it is.
So trust me, running cardio is much different than sparring or boxing cardio.
I agree. I actually agree with that.
Oh, I've done it. I've been in there. So it's so different. When, I could run in my peak when I was like running a good like 10-mile pace or whatever else. It was different than the next day if I go in and spar with somebody. I was gassed. It's just a different cardio.
It's a high intensity stuff boxing wise.
Yeah.
It's like super, super high intensity, levels off. High intensity level.
Yeah.
Like running is this.
Yeah, which is why like when I coach track, I like to change it up for them. I want their heart rhythmic rate to be different. So a lot of our training elements are not just go run. It's getting it up, getting it down, getting it up, getting your heart rate. So stop. Jeez, okay.
You read my eyes. But I have to make a comment real fast before we break.
Okay.
But there's a guy, not just a guy, Angelo Dundee. He trained Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard. He always used to say, and you made me think of it because you're like not one steady pace. He was like, when you're jump roping, he goes, never jump rope in one place at one time. He says, bad for the heart. He goes side to side, front to back, crosses, whatever, but speed it up, slow it down. He said, never do it at the same pace the entire time because it's bad for the heart. He's an old school guy. Mm-hmm. He probably had no scientific method behind that, but he's not wrong. He's always keep it going.
I was about to say, that's what she said. And I think with that is a good place for us to take a pause. Once again, if you have yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel or followed us on Facebook or followed our Spotify channel, all these things, we're all over the place, please do so. We appreciate the feedback and the support, and to those that are already doing that, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Guys and gals are awesome. And we can Trav.
Can you please warn them, though, if they don't subscribe, what will happen?
I think that's more for you to warn them of.
I will come there, I will knock on your door, and I will punch you right in the stomach. And we just had on our pre-game podcast, Facebook Live, we're going to start traveling now.
Yep.
We're taking our shtick on the road. I might knock on your door. Don't think I won't. You know why? Because flights are really cheap right now to a lot of places because people are too scared to fly. By the way, real fast before we end.
Okay.
I think I sent you the snap. Maybe I didn't. But I flew this weekend.
Okay.
And while I was on the plane, this lady gets on the plane. She has a mask and a shield. And it said, her mask said, "Fear will not control me." And I literally laughed. Inside, hard. And you know what? I actually snapped a picture. I'm a jerk, but I did. And I said, I thought I sent that to you. It was a snap, and I sent it to a lot of people. And I was like, talk about fear will not control me, guys. The lady had a mask and a shield on a plane. But fear will not control her.
Well, I mean,
God bless America. That's all I can say.
I have a feeling travel will be a lot easier after November 3rd. So anyways, we will be back. It'll feel like just a few seconds, and that's actually what he said.
Pin drop. From Missouri, they should expect it.
They expect a lot of you people from Missouri.
What do you mean, you people? Racist.
No, not at all. I think we're back now. I don't know. Is that a good segue?
I mean,
You calling me a racist?
it's a great segue.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because you are wearing a Packers hat.
Well, yeah, I am. So, let's see. We left off. What were we even talking about?
It's boxing, right?
We were, but before we do that, let's talk about this. We are drinking Legent bourbon? Legent?
But I want to talk about why we bought this today. If you look really close, what's it say?
Oh.
It says Legent.
It says 2 True Legends.
Legends. That's why I bought it. I looked at that. I was going over, looking at a whole bunch of different ones. Looked really cool.
Yep.
Bunch of different ones, and then I seen that one, and it said 2 True Legends.
Yeah.
1 truly unique bourbon.
Yeah. And
so my instant thought was Brandon BMoney, a.k.a. producer, is a legend. And
Weekend Trav is a legend in his own right. So as with anything, I think you just need to try stuff, right? So if we might have these recommendations for bourbons, and I think we've done a rye once, or we love it or we don't like it. Maybe you love it or don't like it. So I think everyone needs to go out and try this stuff on their own. For us, we've been doing this now 17 weeks, and I've had a good time doing it. I've liked trying all these things, but we were talking pre-production Weekend Trav that we wanted to go back and actually rank or rate what we've been drinking.
Yep.
Maybe do some cutesy little 10 boxing gloves, a ranking system.
That's so good, actually.
I've thought about this.
Because
I'm a cutesy guy.
Oh my gosh. That's why you're AKA BMoney Butts, AKA producer.
So this is I'm sorry if it's Legend or Legion. I'm pretty sure it's Well, it must be Legend if it says 2 True Legends on it, right? Legend or Legend. I don't know.
Let's you know what? Legent or Legend, if you're watching this, which you probably aren't, but you should, let us know how to pronounce that.
Okay, so I'm looking
because I had some people on the pregame podcast, the pregame Facebook Live, that talked about. I talked about what we're drinking, and there were some whiskey drinkers on there. So maybe they can help us out too. If you're hearing this, let us know how to pronounce that.
So it's interesting. You usually don't see on these bottles that they're making a point of emphasis here on who the master distiller is. In this case, Fred No, and then also looks like the chief blender, Shinji Fukuyo.
Oh yeah, read the side of it right there. It tells about that guy is there's 2 things on that.
Okay,
there's a Japanese guy I think that comes.
So so it's a Kentucky bourbon, but has a balance with the artistry of Japanese blending. Overall, what's your take here? Because I like it. It's very good. I think it's pretty smooth.
Yep.
Doesn't have a real sharp taste at the end of it. Now, granted, if you've watched this for a while, I'm the kind of guy. I like my bourbon. I have some ice in there. I like it to melt in a bit. I think it opens it up. But overall, I enjoy it. It's very good. What's your take there?
I'm very, very, very new to the whole whiskey and bourbon drinking. So I don't like the stuff that's very strong and has a bite at the beginning. I don't feel like this has a bite. I feel like this has been pretty smooth. So this is up there on my.
It has. Here's what I'm tasting. So there you go. Flavors from the wine and cherry casks. It's got the dried fruit stuff that's coming out. So I was thinking to myself, towards the end, you get a little bit of that sweetness with that sharper taste, and that's very good. So I like the blend. So Legent or Legend out of Kentucky, very good. Let's give it a ranking. Out of 10 boxing gloves, what would you give this thing? And so we all watched the pizza review guy. We've watched Portnoy with Barstool Sports. You can't give it 10 because there's no such thing as a 10. Because then if you drink it, you give it a 10. Next week we drink something better. What do you give that?
So I have a ranking. It's already been in my head from the beginning. I give it a 7.
Okay.
I give it a solid 7.
Okay.
And my 7 is something that I would buy again. And this was... I can't remember exactly how much it cost, but it was around the $40 range, 40 or under. I know maybe it was around 40. I'll just say around 40.
So you're going to give it a 7.0, and you said it was about that $40 price point?
Yep.
I'm going to give it a 6.9, okay? Not because of that. Not because of that.
That's what he said.
But because I think first of all, it's a good score. That's 6.9 boxing gloves and 7.0 boxing gloves.
I love it.
Good score. I think price point wise, you could probably get something a little cheaper that's going to taste equally as entertaining and good.
That's why you gave it a 6.9?
Yep.
I mean,
which is a strong score. Because let's be honest.
Sharp. Yep.
A couple weeks ago, I think I brought something in. It was some sort of a corn mash deal, and we dumped the rest of it because it was not good.
Yeah.
That was butt juice.
They will not be a sponsor on the show.
So I think what we're also going to do, folks, is we're going to go back through our whole chronicle and look at the stuff that we've drank. Drunk or drank?
We got drunk, but I think we
drank it to get drunk.
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to look back and try to assess, or we'll just drink them again on our own time and say, hey, this is what the ranking would be. So anyways, that's new.
I like it.
Every week there's something new.
It is, and that's off the cuff. That is off the cuff.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's new, it's entertaining, it's sexy, has sex appeal. And speaking of which, sex appeal, we want to talk about boxing. We want to talk about...
Because boxing is sexy. I want to tell you a story real fast.
Okay.
Before we get into it. So, growing up, when I was single, when I would tell people that I was a boxer, I went from being like a solid 6, Brandon, to like an 8 or 9.
6.0 all the way to 8.2.
Yeah, I got like a 2-point advantage because one, I was a boxer, and then when I turned pro, it went way up. I'm a professional athlete now. So, yeah, boxing is sexy.
Yeah.
People love that.
Well, speaking of looks, because we talked about looks in the
Girls
first...
and guys.
Oh, yeah. Well, I figured. You know what? A free drink is a free drink.
This is true.
Sometimes it's just conversation and anyway.
Hopefully it's just conversation.
We're
going off
now
the
that there's
rails.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
So what I was going to do as a segue was we talked a bit earlier in the first half of the podcast that, you know, looks have crept in, and they're very important, not only to the women's side of the sport, but also the men's side of the sport. Boxing is a sexy sort of deal, I guess.
It's very animalistic.
Animalistic is a good one. So let's talk a bit of that appeal for the other card, the other fight happening on Halloween, October 31st. We have Gervonta Tank Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz. And according to Weekend Trav, one of those fighters definitely has a little bit of that sex appeal.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, you know what has sex appeal, though? Winning. Okay? Winning is sexy. Like, let's be honest. Winning is sexy. When you win, it doesn't matter. You win, you have all the attention.
Someone once said, all I do is win. Win no matter what.
Win. Yes, so... What I want to say about that is I'm not saying that Gervonta Davis is sexy.
It's okay.
I'm not saying that.
Are you sure?
But I'm also comfortable in my sexuality that if he was, I would say it.
What if it
I
gets
don't
us,
think he is.
What if it gets us the views and the likes? Are you willing to say that you think... This is the hard question segment. Are you willing to say that Gervonta Tank Davis is sexy?
No. Sorry, Gervonta. I'm going to say it, no.
Okay.
However, this guy's fighting style can be sexy. But I'm not. But I'll tell you, there is some people around that division.
Are some people
around that division that could be sexy. So, but I'm going to dive into that one first.
Okay.
Gervonta. He's fighting.
Dive into Gervonta, please.
He's fighting Leo Santa Cruz, who's a fan favorite. Literally, Leo Santa Cruz is a fan favorite because he's a come forward style. He fights, and Gervonta's been looking for one of these big time fights, and this is a USA Showtime pay-per-view fight. And to give a little extra, notice to this fight, Gervonta is promoted by Floyd Mayweather and Mayweather Promotions, and Mayweather's been shown training Gervonta a little bit, even though Gervonta has a trainer and they have a little bit of a riff every once in a while, him and Mayweather. But Gervonta's been trained by Mayweather a little bit too. So the fact is, this is a good fight. But a lot of people are giving it grief because Santa Cruz is a 130-pound fighter. This fight's at 135. Even though Gervonta's fought a lot of fights at 130, he's fought more fights at 135 than Santa Cruz has. I think this is Santa Cruz's first fight at 135. So it's going up a division. And I believe that division is lightweight. The reason why I bring this fight up is because, one, it's a good fight. Gervonta is undefeated, 23-0, and Santa Cruz is 37-1 with one draw. It's a good fight. But Gervonta's a little bigger. He's a big puncher. So it's a good, exciting fight that I tell people that you should watch this fight because Gervonta is a big power puncher. Santa Cruz is typical Mexican style. He's hard-nosed. He comes forward. He punches a lot. Exciting fight. However, if you guys have been watching our podcast, we talked about Lomachenko, and Lopez, which just happened last weekend, I believe. So it's a big fight because of that fight. So you have Lopez now, who is the unified champion. Lomachenko, by the way, didn't make any excuses for him losing to Lopez, but Lomachenko had shoulder surgery on Monday.
Yeah.
He never, after that fight happened, in the post-fight, he said, I didn't think I lost, which, fair enough. He should believe that. But he never once made an excuse. So I appreciate that guy.
There's only one person after that fight that's been running his mouth about their competitor, and it's the champ. I have no idea why Teofimo feels the need to continue to look backwards and talk smack, saying things like training practice is tougher, things like that. I mean, I don't understand what's the purpose. And first of all, like you mentioned, Loma never once said that this was an excuse or anything like that.
He didn't.
Yet the other camp is trying to make it seem like they're making it excuses. What do you expect? The guy's, he gets surgery. There's going to be photos out there. What do you expect is going to happen?
Yeah, and so this is
like move on to the next thing.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to take anything from Lopez because I think that although I'm on record and I said it and I'll say it again, I actually scored the fight a draw, but I also said that was the best possible outcome for Lomachenko. I scored it a draw, but there literally was never another round that I could have gave to Lomachenko. I thought a draw was the best case scenario for Lomachenko. I did score it a draw, not because it was the best case scenario, because I scored it that.
As people rewatch that fight, all those scores feel like they're getting tighter and tighter.
They are.
Tighter and tighter. As you actually rewatch what actually happened, I mean, those first of all, I don't want to rehash stuff that we talked about last week. Those judges' scorecards were horrendous.
They were.
Horrendous.
They were.
Now, after rewatching it, horrendous. It was horrendous when I heard it, but like now, after actually rewatching the film, I'm like, how could these even be where they were?
What I always encourage people to do, because sportscasters and the on-TV people that are commentating for the fight, they were, and I remember watching it, and they were very, very biased for Lopez. They really were. Every little punch that he landed, they were like, oh my God. And I don't know why they did that. I'm not calling out anything, but I'm just saying that when you want to truly watch a fight and you truly want to score the fight, mute it. Watch a fight muted and then see how you score it. And I promise you, every single time you will score it differently. Okay? So, again, though, I am 100% not saying that Lomachenko won that fight. Because I won't.
Because I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I thought it was a draw.
Yeah.
I thought a draw was 100.
Best case it
exactly.
was.
I thought a draw. And not even just best case scenario, yes, but also my scorecard genuinely was a draw. I scored at 114, which was 6 rounds to 6 rounds. And I genuinely, if they would have scored it a draw, I don't think you would have had a massive argument either way.
Yeah,
But I could see an easily a 115, 113 for Lopez, which would have been 7 rounds to 5.
That's where I was on it.
I'm not going to argue that either because boxing is very subjective. So it's judges on their opinion score a fight. So if their opinion that night was for Lopez, I'm not arguing it, and I'm not taking away from Lopez because he won the fight. Okay, the judges gave him the fight. He won. They didn't give it to him. He earned it. I'll say that. Lopez earned his win. Scorecards were messed up for sure, but I think I wasn't terribly upset with the winner. So I accept it. They gave it to him. The judges saw him win the fight. However, I do believe that maybe there was something wrong with Lomachenko. Even though he said he injured it in the second round, his best rounds were later in the fight.
No, I think he probably came in with something. But either way, let's not take too much time here with them anymore since we did basically all the past 2 weeks. Let's wrap up here on Davis and Santa Cruz. Your thoughts? Do you have a prediction? Or wait, you know what? If you do, don't give it yet. I want you to give a prediction later on in the week. We'll post it up on YouTube. And so for those that are following us, you'll have that prediction.
You're making me bite my tongue right now, and I will because you're the producer and you tell me what to do. I'll accept that.
You know what?
That's a very smart move.
This is the podcast world, and this is what we're doing.
We're going to go that, but I will tell everybody right now that Gervonta Davis, Santa Cruz, great fight.
Yeah.
Great fight.
Here's the issue. We're coming off of a good free one. The ESPN Plus one is virtually free. It just depends if you have that service or not. And that same night.
It's like $4.99 a month.
Same night. And then, or if you get the Disney Plus bundle like I do.
You get it.
That's the kind of world I live in.
Disney bought ESPN.
Hey, holla, Mandalorian Season 2 is coming out October 30th.
I don't even know what that is.
Dude, it's Star Wars. Okay, so so we talked about Naoya Inoue.
Yep.
That card is on ESPN Plus with Mikaela Mayer.
Co-main event.
But this one, Davis Santa Cruz, pay-per-view. That's going to be a little tougher.
Showtime pay-per-view.
On Halloween, it's going to be a little tougher.
It's going to be a lot tougher. Listen, as a professional boxer myself, I do believe boxers need to get paid, and they deserve to get paid because we are in a very, very rough sport. There's no retirement. There's no health care. There's no nothing. So I believe that when they make money, they deserve to make the money they've made because it has to last. So, but with that being said, I genuinely do not believe that Gervonta Davis, Leo Santa Cruz deserves to be pay-per-view. I don't think they're going to do very good in sales because, one, it's Halloween. People are going to be out trick-or-treating still. Coronavirus or not, they're going to be out trick-or-treating. They will. And you have an ESPN Plus card, which is a $4.99 a month subscription. People are going to choose $4.99 a month over a pay-per-view, which I don't even know what the pay-per-view is, but it's probably, minimum is probably $60. Right. Most people are not going to come out of pocket right now because of what's going on in the economy, so they're not. However, it is a good fight. And I am not telling you I'll promise you I'll buy it, but I'm going to come close to buying that fight because it's a good fight. And for weighing in with Travis Hartman fans, I need to talk about it, so I probably will buy it. However, the co-main event is a good friend of mine, and this fight is in San Antonio, Texas, and Ryan Carl is fighting Mario Barrios. If you know Ryan Carl, this white boy is a fighter. This guy brings it every time. And
you open up with me being the racist.
I'm just saying.
That's white-on-white violence there, Trav. Some verbal white-on-white violence there.
I'm being honest, and he's a fighter.
Okay.
And he literally comes and he brings it every time. So I'm telling everybody that I don't think this should be pay-per-view. However, I'll backtrack a little bit and tell you that Gervonta Davis, Santa Cruz, great fight.
Sure.
Ryan Carl, Mario Barrios, great fight. So if you did buy it, I don't think you're going to be wasting your money.
Yeah.
But is this a blockbuster pay-per-view fight that I would tell everybody, go see, this is a Canelo or a Mayweather fight? No, it's not. However, it's a worthwhile fight.
So give me a little bit on Ryan Carl then.
Ryan Carl's 18-2. He's fighting Mario Barrios, who's 25-0. But Ryan Carl, in his 2 losses, the dude fights his butt off. Like he does. I fought on the same card as him in Texas like 2 or 3 years ago. I've met him in person. We may or may not have had a few cocktails after one of our fights. He's a good guy. Genuinely good guy. Really is a good guy. And I wish him the best. I'm pulling for this guy. This guy, if anybody deserves a win on a stage like this, it's Ryan Carl. And I promise you, he's training his butt off to beat Barrios. However, he's probably not supposed to beat Barrios. But that's why it's going to be a good fight. Because, like last week, Lomachenko was supposed to beat Lopez. He was a 4-1 favorite. What happened? Lopez beat Lomachenko. So I always say this, even my predictions, these predictions are based on paper. These fights are based on real life. You got to go in the ring and produce at the end of the day. So this is going to be one of those fights that you're going to want to watch. You don't want to miss it. So it's going to be a good card. Those two, the main event and co-main event, good card. I know both of the main event and the co-main event people. It's going to be a good card. I do recommend to watch it. Pay-per-view is iffy, but, I mean, it's the price of admission, man. These guys are going to be good.
Listen, if you're in a red state, go to a sports bar and go watch it. If you're in a blue state, you can't. Sorry.
You're not wrong. This is in Texas, though, so it's in San Antonio, so hopefully people come out and watch it.
So like you kind of alluded to, they feel like Barrios is supposed to win this, right?
Yep.
Okay, but you just never know. In any sort of fight, you never know. So that's why I want to kind of segue into then December 5th. Fights that you never know. You never know what could happen. We have a good idea of what's probably going to happen, but we're going to talk December 5th in London, Tyson Fury versus question mark.
TBA. To be announced.
TBA. It's only, weekend Trav, I'm looking at it. We only have a month and a week or two.
I know,
and we
which
don't know
is
the opponent.
Crazy.
We don't know the opponent yet. He just announced it, for his credit. He just announced
Yeah.
that he's definitely fighting. I really hope this is a real fight. It's not some stupid, like, promotional thing.
Listen, all that I know about Tyson Fury, and again, I'll say this, I did a radio show before we started doing this podcast, and I've always said it, not always, I was a very harsh critic of Tyson Fury after he beat Klitschko. I was like, this guy, he's just awkward. I hate his style. He's not fun to watch. And then he went on this transformation over like a couple of years where he got up to like 350 pounds, something crazy. He had some cocaine problems. He didn't handle the limelight well. He's an undefeated professional boxer.
Yeah.
He didn't handle the limelight very well, which he's young. Most people like to judge people from the outside, but I want everybody to sit at home. And if you can tell me genuinely how you would react to being, one, the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. And what I mean by lineal is he had all the titles. He beat Klitschko, who I think hadn't lost in like 11 years in the heavyweight division.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know how to handle it. And there's no playbook, there's no book that tells you how you're supposed to handle that kind of fame. And Tyson Fury got thrusted into it. He didn't handle it well. However, look this guy up, Tyson Fury. Dude, he's a phenomenal story. He put on weight. He got fat. He did. I'm not fat shaming, but he did. Ask him. He'll tell you. He got fat. Look him up. Tyson Fury. Got fat. Got down to weight. 270 pounds. Ends up beating Deontay Wilder, American heavyweight champion. They fought once. It was a draw. They rematched. Right. He blitzed Deontay Wilder. Then they were supposed to have a third fight, which is rubber match. Yes. And I don't know where Deontay Wilder's at, guys.
Yeah, that's kind of the question.
Brandon, where's he at?
That's the question. You know, I now see all these memes out there kind of poking fun. Where is Deontay? It's kind of like I see pictures of like him hidden in a Where's Waldo thing. I see. I can't read. I can't read all.
No, wait
this.
till after you're done talking.
Okay. Well, hold on then. So I see these memes. It's making fun. It's poking fun. Remember the old show Lost?
Yep.
It shows him like with the other actors, like on the cover art. Like that's the question. Where is Deontay? We know that he fired his manager.
No, his trainer.
Or his trainer. Sorry, his trainer.
Mark Brayland, who is a Hall of Fame boxer himself.
What's going on there? Because I think all spotlight right now is obviously on Tyson Fury, as it should be, but also the fight that's going to happen the week after December 5th, so being December 12th, with Anthony Joshua. So these are the two prime names right now in the discussion.
In the heavyweight division, yes, absolutely.
We have no idea who
They're
Tyson...
the two title holders of the entire division.
Yeah, we have no idea who Tyson Fury is fighting on December 5th. We do know who Anthony Joshua is fighting on December 12th, but for the most part, you and I are assessing this like, okay, they're doing this back-to-back because this is how the storyline goes. It beefs up the storyline for them to finally meet and take it to, each other, right?
If you've ever been watching our episodes, I referenced this earlier on in one of our episodes. I forget which episode it was. We're on episode, 17 now? Mm-hmm. Go back and look at our episodes. And I said
You just watch them all.
You should watch them all because I can't remember which one it was. But I did reference this. I said, listen, when boxers in the same division fight within a week or two of each other, you know what they're trying to do is eventually they're trying to set them up to fight each other. Because professional boxers at that level fight 2 to 3 times a year. Because you do. You go through a harsh 8-week or more training camp. It breaks your body down more than the actual fight. So after you're done fighting, you take off a couple of months, usually, maybe even a month, and then you slowly work back into training. But you don't see big fights happen back to back, like within a month or two.
Well, especially
it's usually 3 or 4
when
months.
you're on top. You want the fight to make sense.
That's what I'm saying. The elite professional boxers, for sure, that happens. So I think this is a good thing for boxing. And Tyson Fury came out and said, if he doesn't fight Wilder, which Wilder's been awkwardly quiet, which as if I'm putting on my promoter and managerial hat for Deontay Wilder, this is a smart move. Because I've said it before. I said it when they first fought and he got a draw. He was lucky. He was. I don't care what anybody says. Tyson Fury beat Deontay the first time. And then the second time, Tyson Fury knocked him out.
So, I mean, right now it's really only 4 names into the discussion with the heavyweight, right? So it's only these two we've mentioned, obviously Deontay Wilder as well, but then also Ruiz. Correct? Am I correct in saying that? I mean, and that's he's barely scratching that.
You can put him up there. but I think
But we're not talking about any other names really in the top 10 or 15.
No.
Anyone,
I think those are the two biggest
anyone
names.
that have any sort of notoriety is what I should say.
Yep.
Because I don't think Ruiz can handle any of those.
Ruiz, and listen, I give credit to Ruiz because he did beat Anthony Joshua, but they rematched, and Joshua beat him like everybody thought he would on the rematch. I thought he beat him in the first one. He didn't. They
Right.
rematched. I want to reference something there then. I've gotten two big fights wrong in the past couple of years, and that was Anthony Joshua and Ruiz. I got it wrong. They rematched. Joshua beat him, right? I got Lomachenko Lopez wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they rematch, I think Lomachenko wins.
I think
but
so.
I don't think it's going to happen.
But he has to rehab.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen. So go back. I'm going to go back.
Yeah, I think Lopez will lose first.
I'm going to go back to the heavyweight division with Anthony Joshua and those guys and Ruiz. I think the two biggest names right now in the heavyweight division are Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. And guess where they're both from? They're both from the UK.
Yeah.
So what I think is happening is I don't know who Tyson Fury is going to fight December 5th because he doesn't even know. There's some negotiations going on. But you kind of alluded to it last week that Anthony Joshua is fighting a pushover. Pulev is not a pushover, but Pulev is also a guy who Anthony Joshua should beat December 12th.
It's a puncher's chance no matter what.
And I don't exactly. Heavyweight division is a crapshoot sometimes. But I don't think Tyson Fury is going to pick somebody who he's going to lose to. But even if he does pick somebody tough, I think Tyson Fury is legit, man.
No, because it was good planning for them. Anthony Joshua had already announced that December 12th bout. So and this is in the past week, I think. Tyson Fury saying, no, I got something definitely on December 5th.
I think a couple of days ago, Tyson Fury came out and said this.
Really to steal thunder, right? It's to steal thunder and just kind of stir the pot a little bit more. So more than likely, it's going to be a pushover. It ain't going to be like some big name because that's not enough lead time for
it wouldn't make sense.
Properly marketing.
Tyson Fury doesn't make sense, though. He fights people who doesn't matter. So I could see him
he's the
fighting,
Gypsy King. It could be anything.
Dude, the guy's the Gypsy King.
He
is
could be
such
fighting.
a
He
good
could be fighting a
nickname.
donkey for all we know. I don't even know.
Maybe he's gonna fight Tyson. We don't know.
Jeez.
Tyson Fury versus
the week
Mike
after.
Tyson.
Could you? That's actually good. Right after Mike Tyson goes to Roy Jones.
November 28th, Mike Tyson is fighting Roy Jones Jr. It's a very I didn't even mean to segue to that, but it is November 28th on Triller.
Triller. We are on Triller as well. Wayne and TH.
Did you do it?
Not today. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
It's almost not manageable.
That's true.
I'm trying.
Too many things.
I want to give
We have too many
love. I want to
things.
give love to Triller as best as possible, but it's tough.
They're going to get a lot of love because Tyson is fighting Roy Jones Jr. on Triller. Yeah. That's where they're showing it. It's not going to be on some pay-per-view, whatever. It's going to be on Triller. It's Tyson Triller.
Here's what's cool, though. When you look at sports in general, that time of year, even Halloween for that matter, baseball could be done at that point. World Series could be over, which you didn't even know World Series was really going on because how many people were actually watching. Now we have Tampa Bay Rays are in it, so that's cool for our local area.
That series is 2-2.
Yeah. The finish of last night was ridiculous.
I didn't watch it, but I heard the highlights. And
yeah.
I was like, what?
So I'm not a big baseball guy, but that'll be over maybe before Halloween. Okay. And basketball is over. They're trying to Christmas start date for the next season, right? Mm-hmm. So there is a window there where it's really only football.
On Sunday, and that's not going to take away any of the ratings from boxing, which is happens on Friday, Saturdays.
Massive opportunity, and they're capitalizing. Massive opportunity here because there's some other stuff in November too. We won't talk about it, but I think next week we'll probably reference some other things going on. The calendar is jam-packed. I really love this. I love the direction it's going.
Boxing's killing it, man.
It's killing it.
They've took advantage of the whole coronavirus
I want to know. Maybe you saw it. I didn't see it. What was the viewership like for Loma Lopez?
Oh, I haven't seen that actually.
I haven't seen it
positive.
either. I'm curious on the views.
I am too because Lomachenko
it was built well.
Sold that fight.
They built it well.
They did. And I mean, Lomachenko made like $4 million. Lopez made like 1.3. So they had no fans. Mm-hmm. The fact that those guys made that, nobody's coming out of pocket and be like, oh, because you're a really good fighter, we're going to pay you that. No, sponsors had to pay for that. Yep. TV had to pay for that. And TV's only paying for that if they're getting it back in return. So I bet the viewership had to be really good. Usually it's about a week or so before they announce that viewership, and I haven't seen the official announcement yet.
I'd be curious to see that because, I mean, they struck. There was nothing else on.
And it was, but to be fair too, like That was a good fight,
It was
right?
a good fight.
It delivered.
The card was good. The card overall, I don't want to say top to bottom because I only saw like the main card. The main card was good.
It was
very good, entertaining.
Yeah, it was very
entertaining.
Good. I had people that are not normal boxing fans that were reaching out to me after that fight. They said they were training in different gyms across the United States. They did some boxing trainings. And they were like, I went to a boxing gym. We're just getting a fitness in. And they're like, people were talking about that fight. They're like, what'd you think about it, Travis? And I was like, I'm just glad that they were talking about boxing. And literally, these people had never watched a boxing match. And they're like, we just decided to take a boxing class, Travis. And they were talking about Lomachenko Lopez. And I was like, hallelujah, praise the Lord.
I know you won't reference it like this, but I will. It is a resurgence of the sport because I know you believe it, so it's always been there.
Not always, but the last 5 years, yes.
Yeah, but I think this is a definite resurgence, and for multiple reasons. Obviously, the other major sports dropping the ball with all the political crap. I think UFC and those combat sports have gotten too diluted. There's a lot. I think UFC has something like, it feels like every other week, which I guess boxing does too, but it's not as concentrated as UFC is.
Yeah.
So this is like, they always say strike when the iron's hot. This is the time. This is the time.
I feel like boxing's been
the resurgence is happening, okay? So it's very interesting. I think we're in...
surgence.
I know you say there's...
Resurgence.
I say resurgence. But I think over the next 6 weeks, we're going to be very well entertained, and there's going to be some very good content, not only professionally speaking, but exhibition-wise, such as the... Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. I'm waiting for an Evander Holyfield sort of appearance on that.
2021.
Just for what it's worth.
2021.
I feel like there's going to be a wrestling-esque component to this, and I think Holyfield's going to be somehow in the stands or something.
I'll make a prediction. Holyfield will probably be ringside of the November 28th Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., and if Tyson wins... 100 million%, you're going to see Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield in 2021.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now. I will hold firm, but I'm going to tell everybody when this all got announced, I'm going to stick with my prediction. We're not there yet, but I'm still giving it. I think Roy Jones Jr. is going to beat Mike Tyson in an exhibition.
It's the exhibition that has a certain glove used. Judges,
no headgear, the certain minutes in the round. Yeah, it's an exhibition, all right. Whoa. Roy Jones referenced that on his Joe Rogan show. He's like, they call it an exhibition, but
he's not stupid though. He's also playing the role like he's kind of like he's just going along with it, because it's what's best for the fans.
No, it's what's best for his pocketbook.
Exactly.
He's 51 years old. Tyson's 54?
I know Tyson.
They're making money.
Listen, I know Tyson's giving the money away to charity. I haven't yet heard that Jones Jr. is.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now that Tyson's not giving all of it away.
Not all of it, of course not.
They're going to give a portion.
He's got a pot farm to take care of.
But also what they're doing too is, even if they don't give their money to charity, they're also bringing awareness to a certain charity. So that's like you can't really put a price on that because people are going to donate to certain charities after they bring it to light like that.
Sure.
So that night they're going to have a lot on there, and also they're having some YouTube fights on that night too, which I am
Nate Robinson versus
Jake Paul, and the why I reference that because Brandon, I might have a good buddy who is training Jake Paul. BJ Flores, BJ. You were on my radio show before. I think BJ needs to be on our show before that. I think I'm going to make that happen. So
you can do it via Zoom.
And we'll have to because they're out in California or Vegas training, and that's where the training camps are. So it's going to happen.
Hey, listen, you also need to pull the string on the pound for pound best fighter in the world as well to get him.
Terrence, you want to know something funny? I don't know if I've told you this or not, but Terrence Crawford is a Green Bay Packers fan. I haven't told you that.
You just made my night.
I haven't told you that. He is a massive Green Bay Packers fan.
He's
from Omaha, Nebraska.
Then he is so happy tonight, just like I am. Anytime you get a victory night, it's great.
He's a huge Packers fan. He's a very outspoken Packers fan. So I know that you'll be happy. If
Terrence Crawford, Lil Wayne, BMoney. We are all Packers fans.
I'm just saying he's a Packers fan. So
we're probably like the 3 top celebrity Packer fans.
if you're not watching on YouTube and you're watching on Spotify, I put my hands over my eyes and I took a brief couple of seconds to think about my next words. I'm going to do it again. I don't know what to say right now.
Okay.
Because I'm a Cowboys fan, sadly, and I will say that, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
We've been rebuilding for 20-something years.
Yeah.
Romo, please come back. I don't even care. You're older now. Please come back.
That didn't help you the first time.
But he's good.
He was good.
He was great.
He was good and he stayed healthy. That's how he had such stats. And he had Des Bryant.
It was a catch.
One
day on one of these episodes, I will get you to admit that was a catch.
In the rules of the day, it was not a catch. In the rules of today, it probably was a catch.
F the rules. We don't play by the rules here at Weighing In with Travis Hartman.
No,
we break all the rules.
Not all of them.
I know, we keep it PG-13.
Yeah, until we have a guest. Am I supposed to read this text?
Oh, yeah, that's a good text because
he's still in the hospital?
Yeah,
this is supposed to be our first guest.
Probably one of our guests, but yeah. And Brandon's reading a text message from one of our good friends, both of ours, Brian Price. Price Boxing, we love you, every Saturday morning. However, Brian Price is a beast. But also, I want to bring the Weighing In with Travis Hartman crowd to give us some prayers for Brian Price. He's going through some health issues. The guy is a beast, and even when he's injured and hurt,
he's a stubborn beast.
He's a stubborn, like most old. What's Brian? 64, 65?
No, he's not that old. I think. Well, maybe.
No, he's older than my dad. My dad's 60.
Either way, this guy, he's like one of the hardest workers I've ever met. Big boxing guy, big fan. He's a
combat sports guy.
He's done some other stuff like amateur wise on his own. I think some taekwondo things or something like that. This joker. I'm not going to give his story out, but I told him to not train Saturday morning. I was there training, and I said, "You need to go to the hospital, bro."
And for one, I believe Brandon told me the story, but I text Brian, and Brian just texted me back, and that's what I was having Brandon read. And Brian says it in the text message back, talking about how Brandon told me he should go to the hospital.
He's still in the.
This guy's in the hospital still. Brian, we love you, but take care of yourself, brother.
Yeah, be careful.
Health is first, man.
Don't let them check the COVID box on the medical report. So, anyways, that's supposed to be our first guest, unless we have a Zoom guest first, which could always happen. Anyways.
He tried calling me.
Oh, my God, it's so funny. So, we talked about a handful of things, obviously, with, the retirement of Khabib and, 29-0, walking out on top. That's awesome. Congratulations to him. And then we walked through a lot of what's going on in the boxing calendar. Starting this weekend, literally this weekend, 2 big cards with Naoya Inoue, the monster, ESPN Plus. That looks like it's going to be a good one.
It will be.
Mikaela Mayer is also fighting on that as the co-main event. Also another good one. Any final comments you want to make on that card specifically?
No, I think that there's a woman as a co-main event on that ESPN Plus card. Watch it. I think if you guys watch our show enough, that I will be honest about certain boxing matches, and I will tell you the truth. If they're good and they're fan-friendly, they're fan-friendly. I think you should watch these because they're good. There's certain shows that I'm looking at. I look at them and I'm like, Like, I believe there was a pay-per-view card with the Charlo brothers, and I was like, I don't think that's going to be a really fan-friendly fight. And it's pay-per-view. I'll give you my prediction, but I don't think it's going to be great or worth it. Even though it's good fights, but for fan-friendly fights, I am telling you, ESPN Plus, October 31st, fan-friendly. Even though I'm not a huge fan that the Tank Davis fight is on pay-per-view, still a good fight.
Yeah.
So
I think you should watch them. Everyone has to be willing to shell out the money if you want to. But
if you got it to spare,
yeah,
do it.
For those that have access to ESPN Plus, that's going to be a good one on Halloween, and if you're not trick-or-treating.
Yeah, because it's trick-or-treating. Well, you know what?
It'll be late enough.
Yeah, you should be done.
That'll be the time where everyone's egging houses and stuff.
Toilet paper
or
places.
More than likely because of our political climate, finding the houses with Trump signs and wrecking that. Which is a reason why I haven't put one in my yard, because I don't trust.
God bless, hallelujah, November 3rd. Oh. Please get over
yeah,
with
because
after
that, the big C's over too. Imagine that. Then also you mentioned the Tank Davis and Santa Cruz fight. Also the same night pay-per-view. So, you got to weigh the decision there whether or not you weighing in with Travis Hartman.
That's why we call it that, because we weigh in on everything.
You have to weigh the financial picture whether or not you're going to shell out the money for
As
that.
a financial advisor, BMoney is talking about weighing in on money-wise. I'm telling you guys, this guy knows what he's talking about when it comes to finances. So please listen to him. Gulfstream Financial, that's your guy.
That is our practice, and we are a media partner here.
Absolutely.
So anyways, and then also we talked a bit about the heavyweight action going on in December. That should be interesting. I'm curious to see what's lined up for Tyson Fury on the 5th.
Follow our show, subscribe to us, because we also post videos even during the week about certain things that happen. So if something big arises, we're going to talk about it. And so please follow us, subscribe to us, because if you subscribe to us, when we post a video, you get that notification. And I'm telling you, I get a lot of inside info. So please subscribe to us, because I will hook you guys up.
And listen, when you follow us and even check that bell icon there on YouTube, you know what else it does? It puts a smile on our face. Just like that.
We do smile a lot on this.
We do. So Weekend Trav, and this might be a little shorter than the usual episode. I don't know if it is or not. It's about the same. Closing thoughts.
Boxing right now, and I say this a lot, and I promise you guys I'll say it when it's not, but Brandon already referenced it. We're ending. 2020 has been really tough for a lot of people. However, boxing has been a light, man.
You know what
boxing
they say?
has been that light.
No, here's what they say. You end it with a
bang. We are, man. Boxing is ending the year with a bang. Usually and generally, December, you see some bigger blockbuster fights, and we're having them still. Boxing hasn't missed a beat. Boxing has been continuous. Boxing is traditional. Boxing traditionally delivers towards the end of the year as well. Usually September, December timeframe, you see big fights, and we've seen big fights in October. We've seen big fights in September. We're going to see big fights in November.
And December.
And we're going to see big fights in December. So, guys, I'm telling you, listen, if you like combat, if you like people getting punched in the face, tune in, because boxing is there, and it's on ESPN. Lopez was on ESPN regular.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. You got a show where guys are making $4 million and $1 million. You got to see it essentially for free. And I say for free, it's regular TV. And everybody, I don't know too many people. Actually, I probably know 0 people that are subscribing to our podcasts that don't have cable. If you're subscribing, which means you have internet access, you're on YouTube, you're subscribing, and you have cable. And if you don't have cable, you probably have some bootleg version of a Fire Stick or something else where you get ESPN. So you're getting to watch it.
Oh, no, I don't have the bootleg. I have a different way, but
do what you got to do. But boxing's on fire.
We were cord cutters a long time ago. But anyways, for what it's worth,
it's fair.
It's fair.
You're watching, dude.
Fair and balanced.
You're watching. I'm good.
I was watching on my couch with my son, and we had a good time. It was a good moment at fatherhood.
Brandon, this is the second straight episode that we've talked directly, straightforwardly about boxing.
Yeah. It's scary. We didn't even shoot a hoop. We didn't talk about, I can say it, we didn't even talk about the coronavirus.
We didn't.
You want to know why? Because we think after November 3rd, it kind of goes and starts going away. Or we just realize that it's something we're just going to live with.
I think that's what, and you know what? That's perfect, because I don't think it's going to it's going to disappear.
No, it doesn't disappear.
Viruses don't disappear. But you know what's going to happen, though? It is going to miraculously not be a center of attention. It's never going to be a headline again. It's never going to be like, oh, everybody be scared. You're going to, and this is, if you're watching this and you've had somebody affected by it, we're not trying to be,
not at all.
I'm very empathetic about people who have been directly affected by this. However, the majority of America, we're talking about 320 million plus people, guys, that's a big amount of people that are not affected by it.
Correct. I mean, so I'm going to kind of put it in the category like I have people that have been affected by this. I've known people affected by cancer. I've known people affected by car accidents, drunk drive. Listen, it's going to be in that. It's not the death sentence that we were made to believe a long time ago, or the way that the media has continued to propagated this whole thing. Is that a word?
Propagated. I think so.
I think so too.
Propaganda is crap. So propagated sounds right.
Anyways, I think the the fear mongering might subside a bit
I think it will.
after November 3rd. So you always, to that, go vote. We're not saying who to vote for at all.
Vote for who you want
Vote
to.
for who your gut tells you to vote for, because that usually is the best guide. All I know is that, I don't vote based on fear.
I don't either. I never have.
No, me either, for many cycles. So,
And again, I want to tell people that when we say this about the coronavirus, we're not dismissing the actual virus.
No.
Because one, Brandon brought up a good point that cancer kills a ton of people. Just because we're not talking about it every single day doesn't mean we're like dismissing it. Because one, my father has just been diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
He's undergoing his treatment this week. He's had 2 types of cancer. So we're not like dismissing a virus or dismissing a disease. By no means. We do believe that coronavirus is real. We just don't believe it's as real and as fatal as they're trying
I just
to
think
make
it has
us
to be
believe.
put in perspective.
100%.
We have to view it in perspective. So, anyways, that's a whole other topic that could last another, good Lord,
That's usually what we do.
30, 45 minutes, whatever else. But let's not.
Let's say we did and don't.
I like that. Let's say we did, but don't. This has been episode 17. Thank you for your time over here. BMoney, if I'm looking at myself, thank you for my own time.
No, listen, Brandon, BMoney, thank you for your time.
Oh, thanks.
I appreciate you because we do these episodes on our own time.
Yeah.
We make time for all of
We
this
have
stuff.
fun. Listen, when the day's said and done, we have a good time. So if you're watching us have a good time, then that's cool. We're just all having a good time together.
Drink some bourbon with us, guys.
That'd
Drink
be
some
great,
bourbon with
actually.
us.
You know what? So this is, once again, Legent or Legent, I don't know, Legent, okay, out of Kentucky. Travis gave it a 7.0. I gave it a 6.9. Very strong score on the
Very
glove scale. So overall, very good. We're going to go back in the previous 16 episodes and do the same thing. And then going forward, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a great idea.
Great idea.
It's a great idea.
We're going to make bourbon great again. I'm just saying. We are literally going to make bourbon great again.
Bourbon.
Could that be our scale? Making bourbon great again scale.
I think my goodness, I'm jotting notes down like a mother today. So, anyways,
Producer hat, he's
with
got
that, I'm very happy with that. Thank you to those that follow us or subscribe to our content. We're here to have fun. We enjoy what we're doing, and we're just trying to entertain, give you some insight in boxing and other stuff. You get a glimpse into our worlds and our minds. It's kind of scary sometimes.
This is a little scary.
So thank you. If you're already following or subscribing, thank you so much, or hitting that bell icon on YouTube. If you haven't already, what are you waiting for?
I will come. I will knock on your door. I will punch you directly in the stomach.
You don't want that.
I do not want that.
Because, and then I'll follow up and look at you on the ground and be like, now what?
Terrence Crawford, push-up challenge has been initiated.
Ooh.
'Cause this guy will get you.
I mean, I'll compete.
He'll try.
I'm hedging myself already. So
You're
anyway.
already making excuses.
No, there's no excuse. I said I'm going to compete, okay?
Okay,
I'm not calling victory. I'm just saying I'm going to compete. It's going to be a challenge.
I'm an individual sport, Brandon. I need you to claim victory already. I need you to be that confident.
With that, thank you to our media partners, TH Boxing, Gulfstream Financial, and IF Enterprises.
I love you.
Thank you.
ELE, baby.
ELE.
ELE.
So I think we're going to close there with that. That is Travis Hartman.
That's BMoney.
Thanks for joining. Go Pack Go. God bless.